Okay, welcome back. I'm on the wireless page now, and here's where you can sit in the wireless Mac filter, where you just go in there and start, if you enable it, and then you can start putting them in. Kind of cool. I kind of like that idea. Here's how you set up the guest network, where you turn this thing on, and so, and you can set up multiple keys, right? And however you want to do them, you would have to come up with a different SID than this, okay? But it's pretty cool. And they have some really cool features, but they're not really appropriate here. So, the network map tells you who's connected. Come on. Here, boy. Okay. Network map and what you're currently using, like WPA2. I don't like that. Guest network tells you, how to set up that thing. Down here in the wireless, I can, turn on the Mac filtering. What do I do with my WPS? Like, turn the dang thing off or change the way it works. Anyway, the Mac filtering, if I go down here to network, the LAN part, the LAN part is the one where I can go in here and create a DHCP server and then go down to here and say, I want to, in fact, this is kind of cool. When you do this, it automatically lists the machines that are up, they're currently running. So I say, I want that to always be number 2. You just pick it. Say, okay, whenever this guy comes on, and then you just hit add. Boink. Oh, well, only if I fat fingered it, but who cares? The point is you could just add this to the list. That way your machines automatically get the same one every time. And again, for the WAN part, this is not really all that exciting. It basically just talks about, do you want to buy it, automatically switch between the twos and all the rest of that stuff. Most people don't need to go there. Here's the enable the universal plug and play. I turned that off. Okay. The rest of the stuff, VPN and firewall, yes, of course. And then, of course, system logs. The system logs tells you, who's logged in and who did what, all that stuff. It's actually pretty decent. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to here. So let's talk about what happens when you're in a public space, like a coffee bar or hotel room, where you have Wi-Fi password known to everyone. So, for example, in this particular case, Holiday Inn Express, and here's the name of the SID, and the actual password is pancake. So is that a problem? And the answer is a little complicated. In WPA2 scenario, it is true that the password is used as part of the encryption routine. In WPA3, it is not. So we used to tell people, make sure you have a strong password, but that advice is a little aged. So one more time, how can you tell? Well, you can't. You have to wait until you get it connected. And if you're really doing something really, really super important and you found out you're only using WPA2, well, then go ahead and just fire up, your own private VPN. By the way, public Wi-Fi could use a 2-step process. Like you connect to something and then they send you a phone alert or something else to make sure you are who you are. Eduroam is a good example of this. Okay, so virtual private network. I mentioned that several times. But what does a VPN do? Well, it does 3 things. It provides anonymous access, so no one really knows where. Okay, not who, but really no one knows what your IP address is. It does location spoofing. I can make it appear that I'm in New York or London. And then obviously encryption, which means no one can tell what you're doing. So I've seen advertisements on TV, NordVPN. And they talk about, bad guys, looking over the shoulder of this woman sitting on a picnic, and she turns on VPN and the bad guys go poof in a puff of smoke. Do VPNs provide a virus protection? No. Now they may, so make sure they're not lying. They may provide some sort of built-in proxy server filtering going on, that if you were to inadvertently go to a virus site, it would block you, okay? But no, it's not virus protection. It isn't HTTPS sufficient? Yeah, if you're using, all you're doing is web. What if you're not using web? What if I just want to connect to a share and use my file explorer to connect something? Is that encrypted? No, it's not. So if you have a work from home scenario, and we talked about this in a previous chapter, but if you have a work from home scenario where you connect the company probably provided you the software, not like you buy NordVPN. They provided you software, you install on your machine, you connect directly to the network, and it's just like you're on the network. And on the network, at the office, when you click to a file share, it is non-encrypted. So here it's non-encrypted either. Okay. And so most VPN, the ones you pay for, like I keep saying NordVPN, but there's a gazillion others. They use a thing called OpenVPN, which is free and open software. And you think, wait a minute, what am I paying for? If it's free software, it's like, well, what you're paying for is the server at the other end. They have a robust server in Dallas that can handle a couple of hundred connections simultaneously and dump you out on the internet. So you're paying for something, a robust server that's not going to slow you down, because VPN will slow you down a bit. But if you have a rinky-dink cheap one, it'll probably slow you down a lot. If you pay a little bit more to a more reputable company that has lots of servers and spend lots of money keeping them up, then you probably won't notice too much. Okay, so that is the end of this presentation. And I'll see you guys again in the next video.